Just gonna do a quick video on this Tales from the Crypt. Game came in. The main complaint was there was a horrible touch-up on the blue here. Jane has retouched it up. If you look close, you can see it, but you kind of got to look close. It was used to be glaring. So Jane does touch-ups. The guy told me just kind of look it over, see what else you find. Everything looked good except for the upper flipper, the holding circuit doesn't work. So it'll flip up, but then it comes back down. You hold the flipper and it does like that. And see, this one, if you hold this one, well, same button, it'll stay up like that until you let go of the flipper. This one, and it's strong, it's just the holding circuit. And on this one, it's got into stroke switches, but they're not using current. It's an electronic switch. It's an electrical switch, which basically it's got these big transistors which cut the voltage to the coil. So I have pulled the flipper board right here, and I've got it on the bench, and I was going through it. I've already kind of started working on it. Should have started filming at the beginning. I checked all the fuses, started resoldering things, resoldered the back of the fuses, the board of the fuses, the hairpins. I did a transistor test on all these big honking transistors, and I did these, and I was coming back, and I was like, I hadn't found anything. I would check the diodes. I was going to get all these little small transistors, and I was looking at these, and look at this one here. I'm wiggling on the back. It is completely broken free. I don't know if the other ones, that was the first one I looked at. Well, there's 3 of them, and 2 of them work and 1 of them doesn't. So what do you want to bet? That's our bad flipper. So I'm gonna resolder that and check everything else. Like I said, I've already resoldered the header pins, and a couple of them, like that one, a couple at the ends they weren't great, but didn't look horrible. But anyway, that is awful right there, and that's probably not gonna work. You know, maybe it vibrated where it was touching, but probably not. So anyway, I get that soldered up and check everything else, and I'm going to do a diode test on these 3. And I don't know if those are transistors or voltage regulators or something. Hadn't looked real hard at this, but there's a 8 volts. It goes from 50 volts down to 8 volts. So these could be, I don't know. Don't exactly know what those are, those 3-legged devices, but I bet they all should test the same. Let's just test them real quick. We'll do it live here. I'm going to solder it first. All right, so this is our bad biscuit right here. I just soldered those 2 together, which is great. Let me find my solder sucker. Probably should have gotten that solder out of there anyway, at least some of it. Probably works better to do the middle one first. That looks a lot better. And I'm going to go ahead and reflow all 3 of these, because if that one's completely gone, the other 2 might not be too far down the road. By the way, somebody's had this board out before working on it, so I don't know if they were chasing this problem or if that was like an old repair. Got that stuck too. But definitely This game's been out. This board's been out at least once or twice. Missing the standoff from two of the sides and only had 2 screws in it. It's your first indication somebody's been monkeying with it. Yeah, this third one here, now I got my glasses on, it's fractured also. Let's wiggle it, see if it's not wiggling, but it's definitely very cold solder joints. And I'm going to put some solder on, then take it off, then put it on again, kind of dilution. Get off that old crusty solder. It just, there's no way, no. It's hard to get the old off unless you add a little to it sometimes. Definitely helps. All right, now we can get the multimeter here. And without really knowing what we're doing here, we can just look for similarity. I got on a diode test. Well, okay, got 0.1 there. That doesn't seem quite. Sometimes when you freshly solder these, there's a layer of flux on the outside, and it's 0.15. Okay, 0.19. Like every other combination is nothing. Maybe that's the way they're supposed to be. Said I don't know what these things are. Well, they're all the same, so let's just kind of assume that they're working. I don't see anything else that I haven't resoldered that needs to be resoldered, so I'm going to throw this in the game and see if that alleviates the problem. Okay, I just went into the diagnostic menu so I can get the flippers active, because I got the flip game up, and this game's kind of hard to get up and down. It's got a bunch of mods in there that get in the way racing the playfield. So anyway, I'll do the left flipper, and you can see it's holding. And now let's see what the right one does here. This was our problem child. Actually, that one was working before, and it is. And that one's working also. So I did several things at once, but I'm betting it was that dude there. Maybe I'll go, just for fun, we'll go look at the schematics and see exactly what that is doing. Figured just for our own education. So I'm at home now, but I went ahead and pulled up the schematics for that flipper board. So the holding circuit, it starts off, you've got this 8 volts AC, which is kind of weird, but that's the way they did it. So you got, that's the 2 sides of the 8 volts, and a couple of fuses, and there's 3 versions of it, and the simplest one comes off these 2 leads up here. So you got the 2 sides of the AC, comes up and around, and you've got a half bridge. So there's 2 diodes. So basically you're only seeing the positive side of the pulse and no negative. So it's halfway rectified, and then you get to this thing, and that is the thing that I resoldered that made the game work, and that is an S28 2800, and the S2800 up here, that's a silicone controlled rectifier, which is, oh, well, I'm just kind of learning what it is. Basically, it is something akin to a transistor for AC current. Another thing I learned about this, by definition, it's got 4 legs. So on this particular one, the 4th leg is the tab. So that's independent of the other 3 legs. So that's why I couldn't get any readings. The only reading I got was between 1 and 3. Probably if I went between 4 and these other legs, I'd get a normal transistor reading like 0.5 or something like that. But I wasn't doing that. I was on the back of the board. And on most transistors, I was thinking this was a transistor or something very similar. I guess it is similar, but on most transistors, this tab here would be the common with either the 2 or the 1 or the 3. Usually it's the middle one, but sometimes it's not. But in any case, this is different. So I'm thinking of it basically as a transistor. And where am I at here? Gotta find myself. Okay, yeah. There. Whoops. Get off the screen. Scroll down here. So it's allowing the flow of current through that silicone controlled rectifier. And it's a pretty complicated circuit, actually. More than I can get in my head at one time. So the flipper switch for that is way over here. It's that comes in right there. And it goes through quite a bit of nonsense. There's the other 2 main transistors. So that's the pre-transistor and the big transistor, that tip 36. That's the big one that controls the 50 volts. And that's the holding circuit that it has a semi-rectified current going there that does the 8 volts. So anyway, that's about as best I can explain it. Not very well, but so that's the dude, and it's got 4 legs or 3 legs and a tab, which is independent of the other one. So anyway, guess I'm done with this video. I'm gonna put this together and post it, and hope you like it. If you do, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Oh, I got a little something under here. Oh, Joe doesn't like to come out of the covers. He's all covered up. His chihuahua comes out in the wintertime. Adios.